Yo,
Cam played this before, talked about this before, but you also went and played 30XX, and they have changed some things. Tell me more.
so if you don't know 30XX, it is the sequel to 20XX, which is a spiritual successor to Mega Man X, specifically Mega Man X. We've got a lot of love letters to Mega Man out there, but this made it damn sure to show love to a specific generation of the Blue Bomber. And here we have two characters, one which pretty much represents X. I believe her name is Ava, if I'm not mistaken, but don't quote me on that. And another character who is basically our new Zero, and his name is completely slipping my mind. And that's who I played with, so I feel super bad. Um, but this is co-op. Imagine a co-op Mega Man X. It's the shit. And the maps are just big enough to actually accommodate for that co-op. So while the Mega Man games have been known for, being the corridor type crawler in 2D, these are a little bit wider sometimes. So there are certain instances where I'd take a bottom path, he'd take the top path, and the camera would zoom out to show both of us, and we'd converge in the center.
Oh, that's dope.
Right. Um, the game is fun. The upgrades are fun, and this is also, they have randomly generated dungeons that come in chunks. So it has its roguelike element to it. I mean, it is a roguelike game, but in Mega Man style. With this though, the upgrades come a bit differently than they would in a traditional game like this, right? So what you would probably find something like Dr. Light out there, or if you're lucky and that's a piece of armor and that's rare, or you get what your ability upgrades through defeating bosses. You do get strong abilities through defeating bosses, but there are certain upgrades you can just get on the field. So I ended up picking
Hmm.
up hover boots, and from my understanding, there's a chance I could have picked up something completely different, and my playthrough would have went completely different. Because of the hover boots, I was able to take care of the boss in a specific way. I was able to get through uh, obstacles in a specific way. And me being the sword carrying character, it aided to my gameplay a lot.
So
But
that is
learning that
Ace. Is that a
Ace,
sure you
yes,
can?
yeah, it is. It is indeed. Oh, the
Goddamn
moves in
flaming
here are
dragon punch.
so
That's cool.
fucking cool. Uh, yeah, I would not do this game a service trying to talk about the moves myself because there are too many and they stack and they're fucking awesome.
And so
Um,
you also said there's a level builder,
so
level
yeah,
creator.
I was gonna get to that. That is the what I was explaining was just one half of the game. It's pretty cool. Like I said, randomly
For sure,
preceded
yeah.
dungeons and all that other shit. A healthy amount of upgrades in the small two demo build I played. I probably had like four or five maybe upgrades altogether, including the ones from defeating bosses and just finding some on the field. They have a store, a shop in there where you can purchase different upgrades, abilities, shit like that. There are also optional things you can take on. So there are rooms you can find there on the field that will take you to bonus activities, bonus levels, maybe a extra fight that you can take on by the character's rival
Mm-hmm.
who just challenges you and says, "Okay, you want to throw hands?" and you teleport to a different room and throw hands with him for a second. Like there's a bunch that's just been thrown in here and added in here. And then we get to the other side of it. What Sky was honestly the most proud to show me. He's been inspired by Mario Maker to apply that type of thinking to here. How cool would it be for people to build their own levels in here? And from what he was showing me, the plan is to make this huge. The grid on which they build the levels on so far is infinite. It is actually infinite. So they can make these levels as large as they want. All of the assets they use are in there and they have been simplified. So when they first wanted to do this, the way they built the game was they built these rooms and uh
Room.
they built the chunks of game by basically pasting together these rooms and then placing activities in the room. This he kind of made it more customizable and more palatable for someone who just wants to build whatever's on their head. So it's more like Mario Maker, but as a computer program for this game. So things like fucking Control C, Control V work the same as they would on a fucking Word document as they do in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Clicking a surface area with the tile selected, you can draw out how you want the platforms to be or what you want them to look like. And then you can select any chunk of that within the grid and delete it or bring it back in, reshape it, any of that shit. The the idea was 30XX Mario Maker. And I see a lot of potential for this. A whole lot of potential for this. Being a Mario Maker player myself, it's interesting to see how far fans have taken that series with just what little they give you. And to be honest, they give you a lot to work with,
Give you just enough for
but
people to get those creative juices flowing.
right, they don't give you everything. They give you enough to where it's like, okay, there's certain things we can't do in here. Wait, just fucking wait. I'm gonna find a way. So I was describing how some players build little machines using the mechanics from the game in Mario Maker. Certain things will interact with other things, like enemies can interact with different objects. Like you'll have a buzzy beetle push a bullet bill launcher off of a cliff onto a seesaw that launches some other shit into the air that attacks the person. Like different things like that that they're able to do in that game. I asked him if the physics of enemies and just other inanimate objects in there will work with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And he thought about it for a second. He's like, you know what? I don't know,
Mhm.
but if not, then we'll probably add it. But nobody really asked him that before. So
You basically
yeah,
asked him, "Did you break your game yet?"
did basically what I was asking for is like, will you let them break your game?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you let them break your game, you're going to be surprised by
What
the shit they
what you
come
what
up
your
with.
shit is
Right.
capable of, what your
You're going to be
game can
Mhm.
do.
super surprised what your shit can do. But not only that, you're going to be surprised by how long this game lives. Because
Mm-hmm.
there will be a community that just does, who will love doing nothing but
There are people
that.
out there who love Mega Man, and for the opportunity to kind of build up their own stages.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So he's already kind of thinking about this a little bit with the categories they have. So they are going to they have a system to where before you release your own level, you can choose what your intended difficulty level for it is. And of course they're gonna have a secondary thing where once your level's played, they'll give an actual difficulty or actual score. And then based on the response you get from the public, whether your level is one of the better ones or considered one of the just okay levels. Um, there are tags, right? So you have basically straight side scrolling, a boss rush type, exploration type, because even though this game isn't built as an exploration type game,
Mm-hmm.
this creator gives the perfect opportunity to build it into an exploration type game. He was talking about, having teleporters, the grid. You can build a completely vertical level opposed to the horizontal level. You can have them move
Mm-hmm.
down left as the goal or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
just there's really no limit to
This sounds
how.
like this is being capable of just turning into a Metroidvania maker.
This is exactly what it's gonna be,
Because the
bro.
way that you're describing them, like you could build vertical stages, you can change up locations.
This is a
Like,
Metroidvania maker. That's the
even
best way
though
to point it.
there's a goal to the end of this level at the end of the day, depending on how big somebody makes it,
Oh no,
that's the
yeah.
whole castle right there.
That's the thing. And we were talking about that. Since the grid is infinite,
Yeah.
they can build an entire game on a single grid. And then with the different goals, partitions, checkpoints, um, all of that added in there. You
Mm-hmm.
add your goals and different conditions. You can have rooms that are locked off with very specific conditions. So one example he gave was
It is a Metroidvania. Holy shit.
yeah. One example he gave was a room where you needed he said like he'll give you 20 shield at the beginning and then have you go through hella boss or hella enemies and shit just to give you a door at the very end that says you need 20 shield to get through this door.
Mm.
Oh damn.
So yeah, it'll force you to go back and try to get through that without getting hurt. And that's just an idea he threw out of the capabilities of this, you know. So I'm like, this, I'm excited for this like side of the game. 30XX was already a good game, already a fun game to play, but that other, I was telling Darren, this part of this game alone made it the game of the show for me because I just see endless capability here.
Mm-hmm.
If this does right, this community will be fucking huge. And I want to be there.
It's dope. It's crazy how big such a change is from when Cam had played it back in September. So having this whole new other mode being applied to it, that's great. Granted, it's like, do we know when this game's coming out still? No. 30XX still, but hey, let it cook, and it seems like the more it's cooking, the sweeter it's getting. It's getting cooked. We like